Hey there, folks. Rob Hessler here, one of the two co-hosts of RPGs and Baby Makes Three, the podcast, and the guide for this particular game of Junior Braves Survival Guide to the Apocalypse by GremlinLegions. I wanted to mention this is part of a much bigger thing. If you are interested in this, we have a podcast episode all about this game, including a couple of snippets of an interview that I did with Michael White, aka GremlinLegions, for an article that I wrote for the Savannah Morning News. You can find that here right on the page, and in fact, it's very easy to find. If you're interested in reading the article, I'm also posting that down below. So just go ahead and you can find the link in the comments there. And while you're there, like and subscribe, and we would very much appreciate it. That's about it from me. Let's get into this actual play of Junior Brave Survival Guide to the Apocalypse, again, by GremlinLegions, with the players Pete Russo, Tafy LaPlanche, and my beautiful wife, and other co-host of RPGs and Baby Makes Three, the podcast, Gretchen Hilmers. Enjoy this, you guys.
So this is the game that we're going to play tonight, which is Junior Brave Survival Guide to the Apocalypse, which is by a game written by GremlinLegions. And so this is eventually going to be streamed. So I'm mentioning this now because I also got a chance to talk to the creator, and he was very cool, very genuinely nice guy. And I also happened to talk to the creators of the graphic novels, which the game is based on, and the artist of the graphic novel went to SCAD. So that's sort of how it all connects to locally. And so I got the chance to talk to anybody. So I would suggest, if you guys like this game, the game is super cheap, but also these graphic novels are awesome. They're like really good, really entertaining, very well illustrated. So we'll kind of go through the process here of, did everybody get a grab a character sheet? I've kind of spread it around in various places. Yeah, I'm putting it in the Zoom chat right now. I'm just working on it. Getting it up there, and it should be coming across now. Might take a second as it goes across Zoom, but everybody should get a character sheet in front of you. And I kind of want to just give a little overview of the game. So Junior Braves of the Apocalypse is it's a game based on a series of graphic novels, and the graphic novels are just a little bit of background information. Sort of the whole project with the graphic novels started around 2008, 2009. The first one wasn't actually published until 2015. And then the second volume came out a couple of years later. And the third volume is currently in the works and will come out at some point. Ultimately, the goal is 5 volumes. The basic premise is that you play, well, they're called Junior Braves, but it's like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, that kind of, I don't know, archetype or whatever during the apocalypse. And it is just as kind of like a little bit of information about that. So like, there's been a lot of apocalyptic popular culture in recent years. And what's kind of lovely about this series is it's not over the top, like violent. Like there can be shooting and stuff, but people aren't like dying all over the place and stuff like that. There isn't like, it's not The Walking Dead with Boy Scouts. They're like using clever ideas and concepts a lot of the times to get through challenges rather than violence, a lot of the times. And it's also not just like zombies. The apocalypse can really be anything. In the case of the graphic novel, it's sort of zombies, but they're sort of alluding to something a little bit more. In the case of the game that we're going to be playing tonight, you don't know yet, because I'm going to spring that on you once we start playing. But it's based off of the game system that's used on Kids on Bikes. And the reason why I bring that up, even if you don't know anything about Kids on Bikes, imagine an RPG called Kids on Bikes. It's like related to like E.T., Stranger Things, those kind of things, where there are, you know, a group of kids, and then usually like somebody with a supernatural power. This is very much similar to that kind of feel, like in terms of like violence level and like graphic, kind of how graphic all of the sort of action is, I guess you might say. But there is no magical person in Junior Braves. In the case of Junior Braves, which uses a similar rule set, that is sort of replaced by the Scoutmaster. And the Scoutmaster is an NPC non-player character that all of you will help create, and it'll be the sort of the last thing that we do. So like you'll have a Scoutmaster who will be played by me, but will really be defined by all of you all. We're going to be doing a scenario from the book actually tonight. I'm not going to tell you the title of the scenario because it would give some of the details away. One of the twists is in the title of the adventure, so I'm not going to give you that. But we're going to do one of the 2 scenarios from the book. But we'll start off here, I think, by really getting into character creation. So everybody have a character sheet now? I think I filibustered long enough. Yes.
And
yes.
Can everybody hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sound good? Okay. The 30-minute break starts now, and that is Pete at 6:13, so he will be back at 6:45. We'll help him make his character. It'll be very simple for him to do that. But Luke, Tafy, and Gretchen, I'm assuming all 3 of you have your character sheets in front of you, and we will go over the character creation process. So in this game, you have 6 stats. If you look at your character sheet, you'll see brains, brawn, fight, flight, charm, and grit. All right. And on the character sheet, there is a circle adjacent to the stat name. So there are these circles. And the reason why there are these circles, because it is imagined that if you were playing this in front of you, you would have your character sheet in front of you, and you would use one of each of the 6 basic polyhedral dice and put it into those circles. And that would indicate which die you're supposed to use when you're rolling statistical checks against that particular stat. So you have a D4, a D6, a D8, a D10, a D12, and a D20 that you can put in your 6 statistics of brains, fight, charm, brawn, flight, and grit. And I'll go over what these statistics basically mean. Brains is reasoning and knowledge. Brawn is strength and health, I guess you might say, so constitution and strength. Fight is, as you might imagine, that would include punching and shooting and things like that. Weapons. Flight is not only speed but quickness and agility. Charm is social awareness and good manners. And then finally, grit is for sharp, strong minds are measured by grit. So this is how you could better resist lies and social pressure and stay aware. So we have 4 characters. I welcome you to make your characters whatever you would like in terms of your stats, but it is a good idea to mix it up a little bit. You want to have there's going to be a section where we choose what type of character you're playing, and they're called tropes. So you're playing sort of the archetypes that you could potentially imagine in a scout group, which is very similar to like archetypes you might find in like a high school setting, you know. So you're going to play those archetypes. So you might start now thinking like, how would I like to lay out these stats in a way that is in line with an archetype maybe I'm thinking about, a trope that I'm thinking about. I know, and I'll give you an opportunity now if you want to discuss that, because maybe you want to, you know, do some stuff. Gretchen, I know you had some ideas about what you might be interested in.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna play myself as a 13-year-old goth, angry, grumpy person who's stuck in this Braves scout thing and doesn't want to be there. So, and last time we played this, I played a bully and I did pretty good. Except now that my son has faced a bully, I don't think it's funny anymore.
Bullies are no longer funny.
No longer funny. Nope, they're jerks.
That.
Tafy, Luke, either one of you have any sort of ideas about what you might want to, play, or kind of concepts? Or are you just spectating, Luke?
Yeah, I'm just gonna spectate for a little while, and
You may play the
people
voyeur.
pop up.
You can join. You can judge us. That's fine. You're like the guy who
I'm
walked up
not
to
the judgmental person.
Yeah. Well, we're playing at the game store right now, and you're the guy who's like looking over our shoulders and watching us like make
Basically,
characters and
yes.
stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I do have an idea. I would probably play like an 11-year-old, just like super studious kid, know-it-all kind of attitude.
Awesome.
With just like, the overachiever.
Oh, there's a really great trope for that too that I think you might really enjoy. I've played that trope before and it was a lot of fun. All right, so place your dice down in the stats that you think kind of correspond with the character type that you think that you've got in mind.
Okay, so wait, it was a D6, a D8.
A 4, a 6, an 8, a 10, a 12, and a 20. And you're going to want to write it in there as well. But generally, if you have a character sheet printed out, that's the idea if you're playing in person. But you're going to want to write it in there as well, too. But just in terms of like laying it all out, it might kind of give you a nice visual way to do that.
You said 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to write that in chat for everybody. Ooh.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm a forget in like
Not
2
all
seconds.
heroes wear capes.
So this system has actually been is well loved now. Kids on Bikes has been used in a number of different games. There's Kids on Brooms, which is like sort of Harry Potter. Gosh, I don't even remember what the other ones are. There are a bunch. We've actually bought Kids on Bikes from that awesome game shop in Columbia. What's the name of that place?
Firefly Games?
Firefly Games.
It's a really great place.
So it's kind of moved off, but this system reminds me a little bit of the Cortex system that we use for Supernatural in terms of putting dice numbers as your stats. I kind of like that. I think it makes for simple gameplay.
I like the simpler the better. Okay. So
And I'll explain how successes and all that stuff works as we get moving along here and how this will play out. Actually, I can sort of mention that while you're putting stats out. The base challenge rating for anything is a 3. So it starts at 3. And I can introduce it, and any additional complications on top of that add 3 more. So it would go 3, 6, 9, 12, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are ways to boost your numbers beyond even your dice, get some bonuses and things like that. We'll discuss that later. But a success is over the target number. A sort of like success with complications is equal to the number, that your target number, and less than that is a failure. But it's a fail forward game. And by that means that even when you don't succeed in the game, it just takes the story in a new direction. So you're not like, I failed, now I'm dead. Like something new will happen. Some sort of new opportunity will also open up. So that's kind of how this game works. Oh, you have a very weird array of dice.
dice.
Do you need? Oh, you can't go get them.
No.
The cheese dice would be perfect for this game, actually.
The what dice?
I got Gretchen a set of dice that looks like Swiss cheese, like it has like these little dimples and stuff. It's yellow.
So funny enough.
Uh-huh. No way! Those are the exact ones I got. Yes.
Funny enough, I got those dice for this game specifically.
I got sucked in by it was either Facebook or Instagram, I will say.
Like the free it was like a free set of the that I got sucked into too, and I got
even with
that.
the shipping. Even with the shipping, it was still worth it.
Yeah, it was like $32 for like 4 sets of dice that I got from them. So it was like the cheese one. I got one for the pirates, and it's like you can't see it without the light, but it's kind of like these it's like these smoky kind of like glossy kind of things.
Unopened, pure, like they're clean and pure right now still.
I can't find my pirate dice. Oh, because it's right here. And I got like a balanced pirates.
Oh, the skulls. Yes, I've seen those dice before. Those are awesome.
But my favorite one, and sadly I just couldn't get too many of them because the shipping costs, were like these boba tea kind of like dice.
Oh, I saw those. Those are so strange.
And I was like, I kind of like them. I feel like I can make them. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'll get one and then I'll just make the rest of them.
I love it. Yeah, Taffy's talking about, because this will be broadcast, I should sort of fill in the blanks here. Taffy and Gretchen both play in a Ghost of Saltmarsh game that we're playing in person, although we'll see how much we can actually make that happen. I'm like a little concerned about actually getting the players together. We'll figure it out though. We'll figure it out. So let's get into, has everybody, you both put down your stats at this point?
Real quick,
Mhm.
what was flight again? Like, if you can just give me the description.
So quickness and agility. So it is how fast you are, but it's quickness and agility more. It says, I'll read the larger description. A large flight die makes you better at evading pursuit or detection, maneuvering in precarious places, and operating basic vehicles like bicycles and tractors.
Okay, cool. I was like, am I a coward or am I just really good at like being able to run away? Was what I wanted to.
Most of the personality trait stuff is you get to decide. Like, so it's not a stat-based kind of thing, you know, that in terms of what your personality is. You can kind of act any way you want, no matter what your stat says. Although I guess if you don't have a very high brain, you're just going to sound like an idiot if you're trying to be smart. All right, so let's move on to the next little section here. And this is the part where we choose tropes. And there is with every trope. Okay, actually here, before I get in that, let me explain what tropes are. So it's an archetype. So it's the kind of person that you are, sort of in one word, in a simple way. So the tropes are as follows, and I'll read these out and then I can kind of give you an idea of what I might consider given what you've already told me. But here are the tropes: adventurer, clown, devout, dreamer, geek, honcho, jock, loner, mentor, oddball, paragon, rebel, ruffian, rustic, slacker, tagalong, and tinkerer. Now, some of those might not mean anything to you, of course. So we can sort of discuss. Gretchen's over here working on some Lego stuff. So we can kind of discuss those. But Gretchen, now you said you wanted to be like the goth.
Yeah.
Maybe the rebel. You
Yeah.
probably think you're too cool for the tribe.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. When you try to influence, okay, so now you write this down. So you have the trope of rebel, and this gives you a little ability. So it says, when trying to negotiate with or influence an adult or show your trustworthiness to them, spend a brave token to add +3 to your roll.
Okay.
In addition to any bonus from an applicable skill patch. And we'll get into skill patches as well a little bit later. That also defines your abilities. With adults. Yep, +3 to your roll when you spend a brave token. And I'll explain brave tokens a little bit later. Now there's a couple I think that you could probably do, Taffy, based on what you're sort of describing. The paragon it says your scouts, teachers, and other grown-ups would always treat them as the model child, deservedly or not. Even among your tribe, you would outshine your fellow scouts, no matter how much hard work the others put forth. That is almost like a savant even too, like where you're just kind of good at stuff.
Yeah.
And then I saw the honcho, which is among the other scouts. Your scout is most likely the patrol leader, responsible for keeping everyone organized and on time, doling out tasks, and leading camp songs.
Honcho.
Like the honcho?
Yeah.
All right. It says you have the trust of the rest of the tribe, if not their respect, and are good at keeping a cool head even in desperate situations. When you help another scout with a task, the brave tokens you spend provide a +2 bonus instead of +1. So this will make a lot more sense later on, but you're going to be using a lot of these brave tokens in the game. You're going to be getting them and you're going to be receiving them and using them frequently. And there'll even be times when I'm giving them to you for reasons that you'll learn later, but usually means I'm making your lives harder. All right, so now that we've gotten that taken care of, let's move on to flaws. So everybody needs to choose a flaw. Okay, I'm going to read this. No one is perfect, and the same is true of your scouts. They have their own problems, a flaw that sometimes makes them difficult to be friends with or presents challenges that make life difficult. Flaws should be used to inform what choices you make and how your scout interacts with everyone else. Every scout will have one flaw, such as, I'll give you a few examples. I'm not going to read this whole list because it's literally like 40 deep, but it's like arrogant, bad eyesight, boring, clumsy, prim, liar, greedy, sloppy, unruly, vain, stubborn, secretive, rude, sarcastic. As I look over at Gretchen here. She has that in real life, so I'm wondering if she wants her character to have it.
That'd be easy.
Don't worry, I'm pulling from my real life too. Don't worry.
No, it's fun. I mean, for one-offs, it's often fun to do that because you can easily jump right into character.
Yeah.
Grab
I'm gonna
beverage here.
I'm gonna go with Vane.
Vein, perfect.
Yeah, we're gonna put that right there in flaw.
Okay. So now we get to choose skill patches. Now, your scout's progress within the tribe is measured by the accumulation of skill patches, awarded after proving your ability with certain activities. If one of your skill patches would be helpful with an action, you get +3 to the roll. So now, Gretchen, if you recall, when we were talking about your ability to influence adults when spending a Brave token, it said +3 and any applicable skill patch. So you could actually technically potentially get a +6 if you're using something that relates to one of your skill patches and it's dealing with influencing an adult. If you try to, it says you get a +3 to the roll. If you try to stretch the utility of a skill patch beyond credibility, you only get +1 on your roll, and only if you can explain why it's still useful. So this, it sounds a little funny, but what it's trying to do here is it's trying to get you as players to think outside of the box and consider opportunities for you to use your skills in unexpected ways. Now, I might not give you the full bonus of +3, and instead you'd get a +1 bonus, but it's kind of a way to just play with the game system a little bit more, because this is not a super mechanical game. So just keep that in mind. So you can choose 3 patches. There's a list, a huge list, but you can also sort of just think of, concepts of what you might imagine, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and such to kind of have. So I'll read off a few of these. You get to have any 3 that you would like. It's definitely recommended that you choose, different and or complementary patches, so you are not just because you don't want the overlap, but because it also makes your characters more unique. But here are some of the like a few of the things that are listed, and you can kind of come up with anything you choose. Acting, archery, chess, nature, mechanics, shooting, sports, woodwork, weaving, hiking, geology, fire safety, cycling, costuming, interpretation, knots and ropes, cooking. And Gretchen has the benefit of actually sitting next to me with the book, so she can just look at it. But yeah, you get to choose 3. Thanks to Luke for tuning in for a little bit. That was nice of him. Luke, how we doing? How did you kind of come up with a few, Tafy?
Yeah, I took a chess, geology, and fire safety.
Okay. I also uploaded the complete list.
You want to take a quick look at that, see if you want to reevaluate?
Potential security issue detected. Download.
That's funny.
Okay, my Mac will clean up whatever does not look good. Click to open. Ha ha ha. No, this is oh, it's backwards. Okay, there we go.
And don't worry, guys. I know Pete isn't here to make his character, and it looks like we're going to end up finishing up before he does. But there are all of the Braves from the Junior Braves from the book are given NPC sheets in the back, all right, for one-offs if somebody wants to play them. So I'll just give him a pre-gen from that group, and he can choose whoever he wants to play. I did want to address a little bit here because the name Junior Braves is a little bit controversial, but I will say also the creators of the graphic novel have native blood, and they address it in the book. So I just kind of wanted to make mention of that. In fact, originally it was going to be Boy Scouts of the Apocalypse, but then they figured that the Boy Scouts probably wouldn't be that into the idea of doing a graphic novel with their characters, so they changed it.
Girl Scouts are down for anything. It's like, sure, let's just make the circle bigger, and the Boy Scouts are like, no.
I don't even know what all the drama is and all of that stuff. We are not playing the Boy Scouts. We are playing the all-inclusive
We
Scouts.
are
Let's
not
just say
playing
that.
the Boy Scouts.
No, we're
So-
playing the
it's so
all-inclusive.
woke up in
Everybody's.
here.
Yes. Hey, I am not ashamed to say that I fall into that category. All right. So, Taffy, did you have any?
I'm struggling to choose first aid or geology. That is the change. And I
You know what? I'm
changed
gonna
the
tell
knots
you
and
here,
ropes.
without giving anything away. I will tell you that both in this particular event, first aid, of course, is always useful.
Oh,
But I will tell you that in particular, this adventure that I'm going to be running, geology is specifically of potential use.
all right, I'm
So
gonna
I
stick with
leave it to you.
So then I probably
Um,
picked completely useless stuff. I went with botany, foraging, and woodworking.
So the thing about this game, though, is it's also up to you to
value.
make your characters use their skills. So like when you're in the environments, this isn't like a D&D, this isn't like, move through point A, B, C, go along this. This is totally, it's kind of an open world. In fact, you'll notice when we do this adventure, when we play this adventure tonight, it's there are things called troubles, and you just go and you investigate them and you do them and you interact with them to your satisfaction and learn things and then move on. It's not a epic like quest and there's a dragon at the end. It's much more narrative and role-playing focused. Gretchen, you played with us and you kind of recall that it wasn't really like, oh, we got to the end, we completed a mission, but it wasn't really like linear.
It wasn't. You could really switch things up and
Mhm.
go in different directions.
It's like an open world in a lot of ways. All right, so let's get to so my point being is that you want to think about how you can use those skills. Look at the world around you, and even I am open to the notion of describing the world around you to include items that might be useful if you do it in a small, way. Like if you're saying, oh, like how to use woodworking, you say, all right, well, I look around behind the convenience store and I go to where there's a pile of old pallets and I start pulling pieces apart. Like you can make that up and I'm okay with that. You creating that sort of environment. And if you're going a little too far, I might, kind of put the brakes on it, but that's sort of the nature of the game. You can sort of help create the environment. All right, so let's get to the next section here, which is skill patches are done. So next is choose your inventory. And you have on your character sheet, you'll notice you have a pack and then you have 2 pockets. All right, well, first of all, I will say this regarding items. You can essentially take any normal scout items that you can imagine. All right, so think about what your character might reasonably have, and also like a personal item. Like if your character would just have like some sort of, I don't know, maybe you want to play your character as religious in some way, and they have some item related to whatever religion that they follow, or something along those lines. This isn't like a game where you buy stuff. You just choose the things that you would have. You could choose 3 or 4 things to start. You can put small items in your pocket. So you can have 1 item in each pocket and items in your bag. At the bottom of the pack, you'll see a space for supply with a D10 assigned to it. This is a way of keeping track of what items you still have and how bulky everything is to carry. When you check to see if you have a particular item not already written on your pack, or use an item that could run out of stock, you'll roll for supply die to see if you have it. The more items you already have, the less likely you'll have anything else handy because your pack is too full. Supply dice rolls and marks are explained in more detail on page 53. At the start of the game, any items that you take count as a mark in your D10 supply mark on your D10 supply. So you make a mark on that for every item that you put in your pack to start. And you can start with as many as a total of 4 items split between your pockets and your pack. And it is already assumed that you have a pocket knife, a sleeping bag, and a canteen. And you don't even need to write that on your sheet. You always have a pocket knife, a sleeping bag, and a canteen.
With the 4 items that you have, that includes the items that are in your pocket.
So I actually misspoke, but you actually can choose up to 3 items that you reliably know will be in your pack or your pockets. So these are like random things. So here's a couple of examples, right? So you could add 3 more items in here. You could put them in your pockets or in your pack.
Okay, there has to be 3 in total.
Up to 3. Up to 3. You can do less if you want. Here's a couple examples they give. Action figure, bug zapper, camera, lantern, thermos, toolkit, poncho, radio, flare, flashlight, whistle, inhaler. Interesting. Matches.
That should not count.
Tarp.
It really shouldn't.
That's just cruel.
Welcome, Pete. How far along are you? Do you have any idea what's happening right now?
Not even a little.
All right.
I don't want
Rather
you to
than
go
going
back.
back, what I'm going to do is we are going to discuss a non-player, a pre-made that you can choose from. There's a wide array of pre-mades because we are literally at the very end of character creation. Good. The pre-mades are awesome. There's a lot of really good options. Okay.
So I've seen enough Naked and Afraid to have some idea of what's actually helpful.
All right. So, Pete, let's go ahead and go through the potential characters for you to play. There are 9 options, so you have a lot to choose from here, but I'll kind of read them off here. I'm going to stay away from, okay, so Dylan Cole, but he's a honcho character type, so that's a leader type, but Tafy's already going to play that, so let's stay away from that one. Lucas Monroe, who is a devout, and his flaw is that he is timid. He is good at first aid, knots and ropes, and cooking. A devout, let me get this right for you, character type is religious. So if you want to go the religious angle, I don't know if that's your style. Then we have Amir Segal. He is a jock with a short fuse whose skill patches are martial arts, athletics, and hiking. That would not actually be a bad choice because there is not a physical character in the group, and that's definitely off brand for Pete, I will just say. Let's go. Another option here is Johnny Redclay, who is First Nations. He is a loner, he is uncooperative, and he has skill patches in knots and ropes, tracking, and lasso. Then you have Prabir Naidu. He is a tinkerer, somebody that's good at building things, putting things together. His flaw is poor eyesight. He has the skill patches of electronics, mechanics, and Morse code. Then you have Travis Donnelly, a ruffian, who is snarky with the skill patches of athletics, bushcraft, and swimming. This actually kind of sounds like the snarky Pete again. Then you've got Marvin.
Whatever do you mean?
Marvin Donnelly. Now this is an interesting one. He is a tag along, so he's the little guy. He's a little one. He's only 8 years old. His flaw is that he is curious, and he has the skill patches of pets, citizenship, and arts and crafts. Now remember, even though he is younger, all of the characters have the same dice array when it comes to their statistics. So as much as he might be small, he's not weaker in terms of in-game ability to actually influence what's happening in the world. Then you have Buddy Landon. So he is the mentor trope. He's an older kid, he's older, he's 26. So he's sort of the assistant to the scoutmaster. His flaw is that he has a bad hip, and he has the skill patches of, actually he has 5 skill patches. He has orienteering, shooting, animal husbandry, cooking, and first aid. And then finally, well, actually this last one is not one that is included, it is the scoutmaster. Any of those speaking to you, Pete?
I kind of like I'm terrible at remembering names, but I like either the snarky guy or the guy who can do like the martial arts, because that is definitely against type.
Well, I'm going to encourage you to go with the martial arts guy. I want to see what you can do, because
I think we need a we need a fighter.
Yeah, you need a combat character. So, Gretchen, could you do me a favor and send this over to Pete? Take a picture of Amir Segal and send this to Pete. Now, this will give you all the details really you need, except for his items. So you'll need to fill in the pack.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you just showed up while we were explaining the pack, so you might be able to kind of do that. Again, you know, this is all of these characters are in the Junior Braves of the Apocalypse graphic novel, which I just so love. I mean, I really, and the second one leaves off on a huge cliffhanger. So I'm eagerly trying to get people to
Pete, yours
purchase
is uploading
it
in
so
chat.
that the third one gets released. All right, so let's get to the next part here. And don't worry, guys, I know this is taking a little bit of time, but this is part of the fun too.
Can a folding shovel fit in my right pocket?
A what?
I'm gonna say yes.
A folding shovel fit in your
My right
pocket.
Because
I don't think
fit
a
in my
folding
right
shovel is gonna.
Can duct tape fit in your pocket? It doesn't feel right, does it?
It doesn't feel right.
What about
But I also feel like goth childhood Gretchen would have on a baggy sweater or something.
what about some other
I
kind
can
of
see
tape?
that.
Like what about like a small roll of black electrical tape?
That makes sense.
And it would be in character, and you could like put that in your pocket, and like maybe you've used it even to like tape up parts of your, like, you know, your boots or something like that, or you know,
Yeah, old goth Gretchen may have used electrical tape as an accessory.
old when he first started dating Gretchen, Rob might also remember that you were that person at one time. Gretchen and I have been together for 24 years, so we've been through many adventures.
Old Goth Pete feels the electrical tape too. Don't
Thank
worry.
you, Pete. Thank
All right,
you.
so now everybody
helper.
gets one brave token. So you'll see on your character sheet above the pockets and the backpack, it notes brave tokens, and everybody starts with one. And so brave tokens, I noted when I was describing the abilities, the special abilities that you had. And Pete, I will need to explain to you your special ability. In fact, before I go on, let me do that. Your trope is Jock, so you have a special ability, and I will explain this to you. You will need to write this down. And it is when you are confronted with an obstacle or hazard that must be overcome physically, basically physical challenges, spend a brave token to add +3 to your roll, in addition to any bonus from an applicable skill patch. Now that is awesome because you could combine that with martial arts if you were like in a fight for a total of a +6. So you're going to be really good at that stuff, essentially.
Okay.
So you have that ability. But that's a perfect segue because brave tokens, first of all, they can be used to enact some special powers. So Tafy, you notice that your character's special power is essentially the ability to help others or to inspire others and give them a +2. So when somebody else is doing something, you can sort of do a help action. And again, I encourage you to be like thoughtful about this, and you can spend your own brave tokens to help somebody else succeed in their thing. So that's and you double that. Anybody can actually help, but it doubles for you. Every time you fail, you get a brave token. All right, so that's sort of the upside. You learn something for next time around. So anytime you roll a failure, just add a brave token to your count. And then there's also, there's two things. If I make your life more difficult as an individual character on something that you are specifically trying to do, or I should say, I invoke a complication, a difficulty on you, no matter that you can't really avoid. It's beyond even really what your role is. Let's say you succeed and I still give you a complication, then I will award you with a brave token. And also you can get a brave token. Okay, so you get a brave token on a failure. If your failure manages to incorporate your flaw, you get a second brave token. So you earn 2 brave tokens. I encourage you to make an argument and to really embrace those flaws as reasons for failures. I love, that's a way to kind of expand on that character, and I will reward you with an extra brave token. You also will have a pool of brave tokens. And that pool of brave tokens will be supplied by me adding difficulties, complications, and twists and turns to the environments that you're exploring. So anytime I add something that makes your life a little bit more interesting and more challenging, I can throw a brave token into a group pool. And anybody can use them. They're for all of you to use them. So whoever is acting, you can grab them up and stuff like that. I do encourage discussion, though, in regards to using those, just so that way nobody feels like slighted that somebody's like snagging them all up. But I don't think that's going to be a problem. All right. And yes, so now last thing to do is choose a name and add any personal details. So most of the scouts are between 11 and 15 years old. You can kind of choose your range there. Obviously, the tag along and the mentors are younger and older, respectively. It doesn't change the rules in any way what age you choose. Also want to think a little bit about some connections that you have, friends and family. It might be good to choose, like, I don't know, 1, 2, maybe 3 people that you sort of care about, or even things that matter to you. Maybe it could be like a personal item. Maybe that's not on you. Maybe that's like back at your house, or like, a photograph that's pinned in your locker at school, or like something along those lines. I'll let you know now that the theme of the game is that you are scouts or junior braves returning from a camping trip to discover that the apocalypse happened while you were camping. So you return to this situation. So think about some of those things, like maybe somebody that's important to you, or something that's important to you that you want to see again, that you want to return to, that something that you value. And choose like 2 or 3 of those, and let everybody know what those things are. We're going to kind of share those details, because we're going to assume, the group of the 3 of you have been scouts in the same troop for a while now. And so or junior braves in the same troop for a while now. So you kind of know maybe these details about each other, what's important. You've become sort of, it doesn't necessarily have to be friends, but you've been around each other enough. And it's a small troop that it's kind of impossible that you don't really know each other pretty well. Got a couple, Gretch?
For friends and family?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Grandma Sheena and the cat Midnight.
Nice.
I also put an animal.
Hey!
I was like,
Animals are so much better than people.
They are.
rabbit.
Speaking of, let me see if our cat came back.
Here's Odin.
Doesn't that look self-satisfied, right?
Yeah,
Look at that. Skate
infinitely
varnish.
pleased.
All right, so you got those two. Taffy, tell us your character. Well, do you have a name, Gretch?
Yeah, Siouxie.
Oh, God, of course. And it's spelled just like Siouxsie and the Banshees.
And do you notice Grandma's name? Sheena.
Oh, Lord.
Is she a punk rocker?
She is.
Taffy, what do we got for your character?
Yeah. So my character's name is Kip Bay. Their friends and family is their older brother Lee. Their pet rabbit, no name, it's just rabbit. And their guidance counselor at the school.
Yeah, the guidance counselor. That's nice.
At the guidance counselor. I've decided that Kip is going to be a foster kid, and that's why they like being in the grave so much.
Pete, why don't you just tell us? Say it out loud so
Okay.
everybody can hear, and then
All right. We have Cole McMitchell, 2 L's.
Cole McMitchell.
Cole, Cole. And his friends and family are his mother Lorna, his stepfather Bill, his dog Bones, and his karate instructor Leaf, who is 15 and totally awesome.
I love that.
Nice.
Right now, let's move to the next section here, and that is creating the Scoutmaster. Or he's called the Tribe Master, I should say, not the Scoutmaster. Keep doing this, switching it over to the Boy Scouts. The Tribe Master here. Okay. So there are 4 details we really need to choose. We need to choose his name, his look, his manner, and his career. We could maybe start by doing the other things and then naming him based on what he looks and feels like. It might make some sense, so that way we can kind of get a vibe, like something that fits his look and personality. So why don't we start with look? So there are some options here that are written, but you can put it in any way you want, like clean cut, colorful, eccentric, elderly, polished, sickly, slobby, threadbare, tired, youthful, old-fashioned, informal. Did I say sharp-eyed?
I vote for like a Moonrise Kingdom looking kind of dude.
Okay.
What is that? Do you want to do that? That's so great. Do you want to go with that vibe?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, so like he smokes cigarettes. He's younger. He smokes cigarettes. I mean, I'm fine with this. I think this is wonderful because I get to play it. I can't remember the character specifically, but I think I can do it. All right, so we'll give him that look. What's the name of the character in that? So I'll just put the look either. Okay, so we're doing the Edward Norton in terms of the look. Let's go with manner. So we've got attentive, bitter, calm, careless, crude, distant, forgetful, fussy, grumpy, irritable, nervous, patient, pushy, relaxed, restless, strict, timid, upbeat, and wary.
I remember what he looked like, but I don't remember any of his mannerisms.
I don't remember his mannerisms at all, but that's
I don't
okay.
know which character you're speaking of. I don't think I saw this one.
I mean, I'm cool with like wary.
I think Haggard could be a good one too. Like he's
Haggard.
over watching kids.
Haggard? That could be.
Yeah, he's definitely over it.
So he wouldn't be old in his look, but he would be like
He seems some
internally like he's so done with this crap.
Exactly.
Maybe we can even say like this was supposed to be like his last trip, and there was going to be a new Scoutmaster coming in.
It should have been him plus like 3 other parents going along, but they all dropped out.
And that's why the troop is so small, is because like you're the last 3 remnants that still have like survived this dying troop. Yes, this feels good. Okay, so we'll call him Haggard then. Manor of Haggard. And what is his career?
Something that does not involve having to deal with kids.
How about a mechanic?
Ooh, I like that.
Mechanic?
Like maybe he got into this because his dad did it with him and he thought it'd be great to continue on the legacy, and he just discovered that no, he's not fit for it.
Wait. Okay. Sorry. Question. I thought we were only allowed to have 3 items in our, like, on us.
Oh, is it just 3?
I thought it was
Or did I get that wrong?
the way I read it and what I heard at the end was 3 in the pack, but like 1 in the left pocket, 1 in the right pocket. So
No,
I got
so
that.
you can choose 3 total items.
Okay.
You
Ah,
can
okay.
put them into wherever you would like. Only small items can go in your pockets in relatively reasonable ways. And for every item that you end up having in your pack to start, you have to mark one of the supply D10 circles.
Okay, so take away
Gotcha.
1 of my pack
All right.
things.
So who am I looking at? Is this yours, Gretch? The one with the flashlight, the cigarette lighter?
No,
Yeah.
that's me.
That's you. Okay. All right, Junior. Woodchuck guidebook trumps all.
It's true. Can I have that in my pack? The Junior Woodchuck guidebook?
I
feel like that would be a cheat item, so no.
know, you know what, you can have the Scouts guidebook. You can have the guidebook like that, and that could be like an item that maybe you use to
Please have it, because that's
get
the
yourself
other
out
item
of
I
a jam.
wanted.
You know?
Okay, we're going to.
That's a good
I'm
item. That's a great item to have.
redoing this guide, then. Just give me a sec.
Whoops. Hold on.
That's fine. I don't really need to know your items so much because I'm going to rely on you all to tell me when the items that you have might relate to the given circumstances. Let's see here. We've got our Scout Master. We just need to give him a name. What do you guys think? Or her. I mean, I know we have this sort of male figure in terms of the look, but we could sort of come up with that similar look for a female character, if you'd prefer.
I'm good either way.
I mean, he's a mechanic, right?
Mechanic.
Butch.
Could be Butch.
Uh,
You could also come up with like a nickname. Like, for example, in the Junior Braves of the Apocalypse graphic novel, the Scoutmaster or the Tribe Master is a former priest or like a retired priest, and his nickname is Padre. They give him the nickname and they just call him that. So that's not his real name, but you could come up with like something related to his job as a mechanic or something like
Grease.
I was actually thinking grease.
Like grease monkey is a
Yeah.
slang term for mechanic.
Yeah. Okay.
Grease.
Want to call him Grease?
yeah.
All right. Maybe there's a little bit of like a joke like Scoutmaster Grease because it sounds so ridiculous. Like maybe there's something to that. Maybe there's been, I don't know. We will figure it. I just think there might be something there. We'll just keep that in mind.
Maybe in like some type of shop or whatever, or I guess let's say someone was like trying to get a scout badge for mechanics or something, right? It's like the one thing he was really proud of to like actually lead. And maybe that's how he got into the whole like being a scout master and whatnot, and then just slowly kind of it chipped away at his soul. But maybe he was supposed to like provide like the grease for that day, and he just totally forgot.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's not good at it.
Yeah, maybe just
You know
really
what I mean? Maybe the problem isn't, maybe he's just like, like maybe it's just not his personality. He's just not a good, maybe he's not really good with kids or like something. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out through play, I think. I don't think we need to necessarily define it. All right, so let's get into, now we're going to just go around and we're going to describe our characters. So everybody describe your characters. And then we're going to do one more exercise that we're going to connect everybody to each other. So go ahead and first let's everybody describe our characters. I ask for a volunteer. Anyone?
Well, Cole is 12 years old. His stepdad is a former military guy, so it's summertime, so he's got a short buzz cut because military. He was very small when he was growing up, which is why he started taking karate to build his self-esteem, and because he loved the Karate Kid movies when his mom showed them to him. And that is why he thinks his karate instructor is the coolest guy ever, because he heard he kissed a girl once. Big deal. His dog's name is Bones because him and his stepdad really bond over Star Trek.
Nice.
And
Nice.
that's about all we got right now. He carries around a cigarette lighter because he wants to be cool. If he ever actually tried to smoke a cigarette, he might die, but he likes to pretend he's a smoker.
So Kip is 11. Him and his older brother Lee are in the foster care system, and they are currently living with like 7 other kids, who are all just absolutely perfect in like A skill. And Kip is the youngest and is currently trying to basically like show that they are also good at things, and so has just constantly just been picking up random skills here and there. Is really into like King Arthur and the Round Table and like the knights, and it really wants to be just like one of them. His pet rabbit is named Lancelot. I decided to give it a name.
Oh, nice.
And so he really likes taking up the like leader roles in any situation to kind of feel like they have some sort of importance when they go off and do things, because no one listens to him when he's at home.
You guys are making very well-known characters. All right, Gretchen, what about you?
One-off game. Huge fan.
I know, right? Let's just spend the rest of the session in the character study right now. Because seriously. All right, go ahead, Gretchen.
Okay, so my character, if you were to look at her, would look something like Lydia Dietz.
So she's strange and unusual.
She is strange and unusual, but she would probably have more of the attitude of Allison Reynolds from The Breakfast Club. Let's see, one of her parents is very religious, so she has taken a drastic turn from that. And her grandmother, Sheena, is very supportive of it, so she has developed a very deep and loving relationship with her grandma. And she was forced to join the Braves because her parents thought it would normalize her a little bit more, and she is not very happy about that. So she is a bit of a loner and will be a bit grumpy, but we'll just have to see how she shapes up when things go down.
Now that we've introduced the characters, choose one of the other 2 scouts to see. Okay, we're supposed to do this exercise where you choose one fellow scout to be on good terms with and one fellow scout to be on bad terms with. However, 4 players canceled today. So instead of having 7 people with which to mix up those connections, there are now only 3. So each of you would be like pointing at each other, the triple Spider-Man meme right now here. So I don't know if this works. So maybe rather than that, we can
The
just
person we like actually hates us. And it's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's like back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like this weird triangle. It would be impossible. It's just crazy.
We're the Breakfast Club. That's what it is, but with fewer people.
But yeah, so
We're
I
We're
think
the brunch
what we'll
bunch.
do is, but I also think one of the reasons why this mechanic exists is to create bonds between the players.
I think that
As
we
they start a game.
We should have both for everybody. Kind of like one reason why we don't like them and one reason why we like them.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's a really great alternative.
That way it's balanced. So why do I hate all of you?
Should we say that out loud? Do you think we should share that maybe?
Yeah, I think we
Okay,
should.
let's share it. Let's share it. Okay, I think that's my instincts too. What do you think, Gretch?
I'd have to hear it again.
Gretchen was distracted.
It was. Yeah.
So
character.
Tafy suggested, and I think this is a great idea, is to choose one thing you like about, for each character, choose one thing that you like about them and one thing that you don't quite like about them.
Oh, okay. I like that.
And share it. And that can actually be, and I think I'll give, let's give the person who is on the receiving end of this sort of a veto right here. If you don't feel comfortable with it, of course, then you don't have to take that. But I think it'd be fun because I think we can also add to that character's backstory a little bit with these suggestions in a kind of fun way. But again, if you don't feel comfortable with it or you don't like it, feel free to say so, because you know, want to play a character that you're going to enjoy. Any thoughts to start?
Sure.
Go for it.
I think Siouxsie would probably like Kip, mainly because maybe because they're both animal lovers and they have deeper connections to their animals than they do people, other than, you know, the mythic guidance counselor.
I like that. I can take that.
Okay, that sounds great. Bonding over animals.
And how about with Pete's character?
You know what? I might even say, let's take it a little farther with bonding over the animals. Let's say maybe, I mean, and what about if you said something along the lines of somehow you learned about one of the animals like being sick or injured or something, and you knew something about a cream, or you knew somebody who was a vet that helped them, or you know what I mean, like you had some, like, make the connection a little deeper, because I think it would like to have like a real, like a tangible story, you know, like what is the reason why that.
We can say that Grandma Sheena has a veterinarian clinic, and that's why you hang out with her so much and have like bonded with your grandmother so closely. And let's say like my rabbit got sick once and like nobody could come and like go and take care of it because like all the kids that were there, they just didn't care, and like the grandma came over.
That's
love
great.
it.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's perfect. All right, so yeah, okay. What about some more? What don't you like about each other?
I don't like Siouxsie because I feel like she plays with matches too much, and I'm all about fire safety. And feel like she almost was the reason why I didn't get my badge.
Because that might actually be close to young Gretchen.
Starting
That
fire.
is so great. Perfect.
How did you know?
Just back there like twitching with your lighter.
Well, we are going safer and we have a fire starter. So, you know, just in case the lighter fails, I think a fire starter could help in more situations.
Keep telling yourself that.
I think I might have a reason to like Cole. I'm just trying to figure out a reason why I might not like Cole. I'm gonna say that Kip tries to like shadow Cole a bit as far as like martial arts goes. Like you kind of like those people who do like workout classes in the park, and then you have like the freeloaders like behind a tree, kind of like like mirroring. So like Kip will see like Cole is like doing martial arts, and Kip is trying to like kind of do the same moves to be like, oh yeah, you know, like
That's
these
too
kids don't
funny.
like bully me in school.
That's so embarrassing.
So like just
So
in his
embarrassing.
from far.
I love that. That's hilarious.
And it's like it's totally noticeable, but Kip thinks that he's being like very well hidden when he does it and very sly, but it's like everyone can clearly see him.
All
No,
right.
no.
So what about Cole? Pete, what is Cole like? Who does Cole bonded with? Who does Cole Give us some vibe. What's Cole's vibes about these people?
Well, that is a definite thing. I think now is that Cole does notice Kip while doing karate in the park, and his class teases him about it because Kip's never there when Cole's not there.
I like it.
But he does like Kip's relationship with their siblings, or sibling Lee. Cole loves his dog, but also loves all animals as well. So he loves the pet rabbit, and he likes Siouxie because he likes the fact that she is a rebel and doesn't play by the rules. But he also has a hard time differentiating her sarcasm with her just being mean.
That's fair. That's fair. And let's see. So I guess
Yeah, how about this? How about this? Like, what if maybe there was a bully in your troop, like from way back before? Cole. Maybe it was one of the reasons why even like long ago Cole even like got into the scouts. Maybe there was like a bully. And would kind of like make these like, little like insults, make the other kids kind of laugh at you and stuff like that. And of course you eventually overcame it and became, very, active and all this like athlete.
I was just small for my age.
Yeah. But there's a little bit of that, like Siouxie's words maybe are a little biting, maybe we'll say. Like they feel a little bit like that. It's kind of like bringing you back to those days.
Gretchen, can you handle that, or is that going to be too much of a stretch?
we can do it.
That is Odin. All right, so fun. So ordinarily, if we were playing the game in a long-term way, we would build the hometown. We'd create the hometown. But since we're doing a one-off, although we might even continue with this now because we're starting so late, I actually really like the vibe of the group right now, so it might be fun to kind of revisit this. We'll see how we enjoy the play, but we're gonna just do a town that's already been created. And so, but before we do that, are there any questions?
I do have one question. With the D10 supply in the pack, how do we apply that?
All right, so
And
as long as you have an open supply, as long as you have an open supply circle, you can find new things. Once your supply circles are full, you can't find new things in your pack.
Okay.
So, your pack also has an ambiguous it has a limited amount of ambiguous other things. So you can say like let's say it comes up that you need a cooking pot and none of you have a cooking pot on your character you could say you could make a supply roll to check your pack for the cooking pot. And
okay,
you
would
D10.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if you get it, you succeed, you get the item. But after you fill in all of your circles, you no longer have access to any additional items. Your pack is full. But I'm a little bit there's something weird about that to me because I see in some of the examples that the pack has more than 3 items in it. So I don't understand it, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. And speaking of bridges, this scenario takes place in the city of Bridgetown. And so Bridgetown is a small city. I don't even know if I would necessarily call it a city. I mean, at best a city. The city of Bridgetown is known for these 4 grand bridges. And we can sort of describe them when we see them. We don't have to describe them necessarily right now, but they're these 4 grand bridges, and these bridges have been maintained rigorously over the past century since they were built. Even sometimes of the chagrin of the people in your hometown of Bridgetown. They sometimes question, there have been questions for the city council approving expenses with maintaining these bridges to an extreme level. And when there were other needs. So, but anyway, that's really generally not a concern for you much, but I don't know, you can decide, Tafy, I don't know if Kip might know something about that, because Kip is pretty smart. So most of you didn't really care much anything about any of that bridge stuff, except for this summer, because it's the 100-year anniversary. It's a centennial celebration of the Bridgetown bridges. And you guys ended up having this camping trip to go on during the centennial celebration. And we're not necessarily happy about it. Just the latest of Greece's screw-ups when it comes to planning trips for you and your fellow tribe mates, and you're counting down the days until his replacement takes over.
I was supposed to be in the karate demo at the park.
Oh, no.
damn.
My mom told me that I committed to the next camping trip, so I have to go.
Oh, Cole.
So, but you did have a fun time, I know, on the camping trip anyway. So some of that stuff
Yes.
melted away. And the trip back was, kind of ended up, being a little bit of a nostalgic chat, as you sort of came to realize it would be the last time you were with Greece. And although he was quite ineffectual as a scoutmaster or tribe master, he has a good heart, although he's not necessarily he's not a very good tribe master. But anyway, when you return to the town, though, and it's getting to be late afternoon, during the summer, the weather is not what you would expect. In fact, the skies are dark and freezing cold. Snow is falling nonstop. As you approach sort of down from the hills and into the town below, you can see that the iconic bridges, which are like kind of along the river, and you're sort of coming down, you can see them. They seem to be covered in these like massive vines and thistles, and they're almost unrecognizable as they span over the river. And as you're like approaching into town, the streets appear to be deserted, and the buildings have large chunks missing, and can't really be described as anything other than like something took a bite out of them, like a big giant bite of the stone of the buildings. In the shaded areas around town, as the snow is falling, you also notice giant standing stones, like the size of small cars. These huge, like monolithic old school, like, England out in some big ass field kind of thing, but right in the middle of town. Just like boom, right in the middle of town. Like in the shaded areas, just getting covered with snow just like everything else. And at this point, Tribe Master Grease is like slowed down and he's like, what the? And remember, this game is PG, so we don't even get one F. I
can pull the data from Goonies. Holy SHIT.
Double hockey sticks.
So you've slowed way down, and you're driving, and he's he says that, and the windshield wipers are on, and they're knocking the snow back and forth, and he's using his arm to get the steam off the windows so he can look at it, just like a deserted town. And then you just hear pop, 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 as the tires on the, we'll say early 80s Cadillac, which is blasting exhaust heat at you in the cold weather now, but it's pretty big. I mean, those are big ass old cars, boats, and it you just hear all four tires just blow out, and Tribe Master Grease screeches to a stop in the middle of the street, right at the southern end of town, near probably the closest, you can, just looking at the map here, and I know people who might be listening or watching this can't see the map, but it essentially the town is built on two sides of a river, and there's a bit of an inlet as well, and the inlet's to the south. The river heads up, or I guess it heads down into it's an outlet, I guess, not an inlet. But near the south is there are a number of different sort of edifices, and at this point kind of roll to a stop, screech to a stop. The buildings seem to be pretty empty, around, looking down the streets. The sort of first building that you recognize in the distance, through the window, is the West Side Episcopal Church, which is only really notable because they put on this crazy live action nativity scene that got some national press for being too liberal. Some of the conservative news outlets got really pissed off for it being too liberal. And there was some controversy about it. You can decide whether your characters think it's good kind of, bad kind of controversy, but it's notable, that place. And that's kind of, you can see that in the distance. The snow is building up. It's probably 2 or 3 inches thick now, but you're braves. I mean, you packed for camping, even though it's the summertime, you still have, your heavy stuff on. And Tribe Master Grease says, God damn, shakes his head. Couldn't be without a problem on my last trip out. We almost made it. Shakes his head. What the hell's even going on here?
You're a mechanic, you can fix it. And it just kind of points at the tire.
I don't really think he is talking about the tires so much as the WTF that happened to our town. But I could be wrong. Maybe, no one else sees these giant vines all over the streets. And, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
He says, well, does it look like... He says, I don't know how much you know about cars, Kip, but they don't usually include 4 spare tires.
Well, maybe you're just a bad driver.
Ooh.
He just sighs.
Susie's in the
I need
back.
smoke.
tracing
And he
things on the
he
window.
opens up the he opens up the door for smoke, and you can see he's like, he closes the door behind him. So the three of you are enclosed in the space alone. And you hear him, he's like, Patton, I'll give you a second to chat.
Guys, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I feel like something is going wrong here. I mean, there is snow in the middle of summer. That's my first thing that says something's wrong. But I don't necessarily know that I would hop out of the car right now. This might be the last time we see our Scoutmaster. I'm sorry, Tribe Master. I don't know. I've seen enough horror movies. I don't know if you two are horror movie fans, but I sure am.
Kip kind of like adjusts like his glasses and it's like, horror movies aren't real, Siouxie.
I don't know. Siouxie, if you did this, I think you should undo it.
I mean, I'm good, but not that good.
Well, you wouldn't be good to do something like this.
Debatable. People, animals.
All right, so you're having this discussion, and you can see by this point, Grease has pulled out a cigarette and he's lit it up. He's taken a couple of puffs on it, and he looks into the car, and he just shakes his head, and he kind of like chuckles to himself about the situation as it is, and he goes to the
Guys, if he's laughing out there, that might
actually
be
he turned off the car and took out the keys when he got out, and this is the reason why is going to become clear in a moment. He goes around to the back and opens up the trunk, because in these old cars you had to have a separate key to open up the trunk. So he has his keys to open up the trunk, and it's this big boat. So you can't see him back there, but you can hear him.
My dad's car?
Yeah. He's driving Gretchen's dad's car. So out of the literally people that are watching this right now, it looks like Gretchen's dad's car.
It's amazing.
It's a perfect car though for this guy. If you know this car, it's perfect. It's like a 1983 Cadillac.
It all just came screaming into my brain.
It fits Tribe Master.
You can fit, I will tell you this, you can have 3 people side by side in the back seat, 3 adults, and you will have plenty of room.
Yeah.
It is big. It's wide.
No doubt.
All right, so you hear him just like, you can hear like stuff getting banged around, and in the trunk.
Can I make a botany check on the vines that we see growing?
Yeah, so that would start out of 3, but I'm gonna say that for every complication that exists in the environment or whatever that's obvious, I can just add 3 without giving you brave tokens. And in this case, you are looking at it through the window and without inspecting it directly under snow. So I'm gonna add that looking at it through the window, and then also in the snow without being near it. And I'm going to say that the difficulty will be 9.
Okay. So what do I roll here for that? For a skill patch?
So your botany can be, you can make arguments for whatever stat that you'd like to use, but it has to be a good argument. I am inclined to, if you make a good argument, I'm going to probably let you do it. But in this case, it seems mostly like this is brains. You're just looking at stuff.
That's a D8 on that.
That's a D8, but you also have a skill patch, which means that you get a +3, I believe, on this. Let me see here if that is right. If your skill patches would be helpful with an action, you get +3 to the roll.
All right, well, let's see how good these
So you
dice
need a
are
9 to tie it, and that would be success with a complication.
Ooh.
So that is a failure.
Those vines are daisies, which are not actually vines.
All right, so this is a good opportunity for us to practice the rules a little bit here. And I'm going to tell you this right now, guys. I don't think we're going to complete this adventure tonight, but that's okay. The so let's see here. Success and more. Failure. If you do not beat the target, the action fails and the scout suffers the consequences. It also means that the scout banks a brave token.
Ooh.
You get a brave token, so add your brave token up. What does
Fail
failure look like? Just like boons, there's no way to list every single possible outcome that could befall your scouts. Often the guide will have to play it by ear based on the circumstances, the action and intent of the other characters, and the factors that went into determining how much trouble you were in. Here are a few examples. So you could lose an opportunity, make something more dangerous, suffer stress or trauma, cause a friend to suffer stress or trauma, be knocked out, lose something from your pack or mark off a supply, become lost or separated, enrage or upset someone, make incorrect assumptions or observations. So,
Could embarrassment fall under this?
I guess like the incorrect assumption of what it is would probably fit best with like the current scenario, since I don't feel like all the other stuff wouldn't really apply to.
yeah, incorrect assumption of what it is. And gives an example. You mistake an old man's ramblings as something actually important.
It's always important. That's the right
Always listen to the old man.
ramble.
The old man's rambling is always important.
Siouxsie knows that. She
Well,
watches
okay.
lots of horror.
What do you think then? Let's talk this out, guys, because I'm having a little trouble filling this space in. What do we think that would mean? Siouxsie, Gretchen's character Siouxsie, looks out the window. Uses her sleeve to push away the fog. Looks out the window, sees the vines crawling up the side of the church in the distance. The church that has this crazy nativity scene. The vines are all crawling all up it. Huh?
That was the middle of summer.
It's
but
the middle of
snowing.
summer and it's snowing.
Why does the Episcopal Church have a nativity scene?
No, they
upstairs?
don't have a nativity scene right now. They are known for their nativity scene.
No,
Very confused.
They're known for their there is no nativity scene now, but they are known for their nativity scene. Sorry if that was not clear.
The church failed their season goal.
They just keep it out all
you
year.
just never take their Christmas decorations down.
It's live action.
know those
too, so those
people.
people just live there.
It's what brings the tourism into the town.
Christmas in July. Christmas in
How we
July.
make our money.
So
Complained it was too liberal.
where are we going? Where are we, guys? Okay, so yes, you're looking at this and you make an incorrect assumption or observations.
It's like the decor for the festival. Whatever, it's like a new decoration, I guess, for, I don't know, because aren't they like celebrating the like bridge festivals centennial blah de blah thing that we all missed because we went on this trip?
Yeah.
And maybe she doesn't like notice that they're actual vines, and she thinks maybe they're just streamers from like other rebellious kids that like TP'd the church.
Well, you're doing your botany, right?
Yeah, I'm doing a botany.
Okay, so
fail.
I think it's a botany fail. So what I'm going to say is that what if it was, or what I'm going to throw out there, what if it was that they were going to be, for the celebration, they were going to be doing this, they were going to be doing these like these new plantings like near the bridges. And but maybe see that if we do that, then it would be, we could say that these things are actually, because I'm like, well, actually, then that would be what these things are. I mean, that could be a plausible reason why these things are growing everywhere. So we have to come up with something that is the wrong answer.
I mean, okay, so it's not just the identification of it that's the wrong answer. It is
Yeah.
Something outlandish.
The Garden
Although
Society
I think
staged a
Taffy's
coup.
suggestion of streamers is actually pretty good.
No, we're gonna do something different entirely. Let's say that how about this? Instead of misidentifying, how would you feel about Siouxsie experiencing a slightly traumatic experience right now?
Yeah, okay.
All right, so you are looking at the vines
Oh god.
and you are fairly like you're just kind of like looking around at you, like, you know, you brush this and then you're kind of like trying to get it closer. You get it like, you know, it's so cold outside that the steam is coming right back. So you get it and you look and you catch a glimpse. You're looking into the vines and you catch a glimpse, and it looks like there is this huge monstrous face looking back at you while you're looking at the vines. So you experience stress, which is you experience a trauma, or you experience a stress. We'll call the stress living nightmares.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Dive right in.
All of a sudden, you know, Siouxsie is looking out the window and something I learned from Rob, she starts choking on air and starts coughing and trying to gasp.
I do that in real life.
And she's trying to play it off because she is horrified, but she has to, you know, pretend that she is strong-willed, and so she's fine. And for anyone who can actually see her, there might be tears forming in her eyes, which she is going to forever say were caused by her coughing.
How about haunted instead?
Haunted.
Mhm.
Okay.
Haunted. Does that feel more appropriate?
Yeah.
We'll say haunted. So write that as a stress. Now, if you get 4 stress, you have trauma, which is severe mental strain, crippling injuries, or emotional scars.
Okay.
But you can get 4 before that happens. So now you just play this. Now, if this plays a role in something that you're doing, then it adds +3 to the difficulty. But I'm mostly going to let you decide if it plays a role. It's a role-playing device, not something that I'm going to impose upon you, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yes.
It does.
It does.
It does.
It makes sense. Okay, good.
I'm not very good at.
All right, so that's the so that happens. And then
do we see this happen to her, or just like her reaction?
Do they?
I think
They
just
see
a
her
reaction.
cough, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
only like she's like keeps doing it, like it's fogging up so quick. And in fact, everything is so foggy right now. And then you hear, and the snow's coming down pretty thick, and you're like, you hear like a thunk, and then you hear what the, as from behind the car, as Trimaster Grease goes, what the, and then you hear, what no, ah! And you just hear this screeching sound of stone against the pavement, like this. It's this like screeching. Really, it sounds like. In fact,
Does the car shift?
yeah, the car shifts. Perfect. Actually, Tafy, Kip has geology, right?
Yeah, because I was gonna say Kip's gonna probably step out of the car.
Okay, but go ahead and for me.
Hey, let me. If you're getting out, let me get out first in case there's anything dangerous there. I'm ready.
I just was like, by all means.
But Kip, I was gonna say, go ahead and make a a test for your patch for geology, and you can probably use your brains die.
Yeah, I was gonna say he would probably step out the car and like touch the snow.
You can make an argument for grit though as well. If you have a high grit, you could also make, because this is also the sound is what I'm going to give you a little bit of an identifier here.
Yeah. I have a decent amount of I have a
Whatever you choose, you can use either die. Whatever's better. I know, but I don't have it in front of me. Well, but I
think
also
out
want
of
to roll
pure
one.
curiosity, yeah, Kip is probably gonna test their geo knowledge because they know that like something's up, but is also trying to like not show that they're like afraid of what's happening
Okay.
because they're viewed as kind of like the leader in a sense, like amongst
Right.
like here. So he's trying to keep a cool head about it, but also being like, okay, but like, what is this? Like, why is it snowing? What is this like material that's like not familiar to our town at this time of season?
All right, go ahead and make a test then.
Okay, so would I roll brains?
Yeah, I think brains, and then you get the +3 from the patch. And it's just a 3.
Okay, so that would be 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18.
Oh, wow, a d20. Wow. Okay. So for every
Yeah, my brains is smart.
it
I
says
am
okay,
not.
so for every 3 points or 3 over the target number you succeed by, you get a boon up to the level of the difficulty. Since the difficulty was only 3, you get 1 boon. But and a boon is basically something good happens. Let me see how this plays. Can do this. I believe in me. There are advantages and benefits resulting directly from your action. Maybe you do something faster, more efficiently, or get longer lasting results. So it takes less time, has greater impact, requires fewer resources, gives you an immediate follow-up action. You get some additional information. You observe something unexpected or useful, or something you craft is more durable or useful than planned. All right, so first things first, though, you hear the sound, this grating sound, and the sound of the stone is very so obviously familiar to you, that sound of that specific stone, because it is the stone that is most common along the riverbanks here in town. So like all along the riverbanks, there's this particular type of stone, mix of stone that's like down there. And you hear this and you're like, the tenor of it is exactly, that sound to you. Do you want to see something? I mean, you could see something here because you're like, you
Yeah, I think they're gonna be
by
curious.
so much.
Like, go like take a peek.
You're stepping out, right? So maybe
Yeah.
like, ooh, yes. How about this? Because you said you were going down to the snow. Is that what you said? To look at the snow?
Yeah, I'm gonna like go touch the snow that's been like falling on the ground.
All right, so this is perfect then. So like you reach down and you touch the snow, and as you do, you see under the car, and you see these 2 massive, I mean, I don't want to call them feet. They're like big, huge stone legs, like trunks.
Nope.
And you also see, like, just for a second, like the dangling, kicking legs of Tribe Master Grease. And then like the stone legs go like boom, boom, and like they start running away. So this isn't like an initiative type game.
Yeah.
Kind of just do stuff, guys. So I'm gonna say, Cole, I want to give Cole an opportunity to do something here because something has happened to Siouxsie and something Kip Master has managed to do something. So let's let Cole have an opportunity here. What are you thinking here, Cole?
Well, I'm not sure what to do with Siouxsie because she said she's okay and she just coughed a little bit.
I'm fine.
Yeah, she's fine.
I'm fine.
But if Kip's getting out of the car, I should be out there first because whatever it is, I can just karate kick them. I've been training for this my whole life.
Love it.
So I'm gonna go out there first, and I'm gonna be ready to yeah. I'm the best around.
He's like, hold on just a second. Puts on a bandana.
Like
I'm the
Miyagi Dome. Like
That's right. Nothing's gonna ever keep me down.
I love it. All right, so you're popping out. So you okay? So then I'll let you catch a glimpse too. So you roll out of the seat and crouch immediately into fighting stance. Hiya! And you see running in the distance, but like it's now through this thick snow. Like it's just this big thick snow, and there's sort of this like haze, like as the wind is blowing, creating this like white cloud, as well. This massive sort of humanoid shape, but it's kind of angular in its way. Go running off into that at a fairly good clip too, considering how big it is, and it is making a thunderous sound as it runs away, but the sound is becoming more and more muted just from the snow and all of that. It's not gonna be out of range here before I give you guys another opportunity to do something, but
now is our tribe master like taken away with this?
oh yeah.
Okay.
You hear him yelling, and in fact he's like he's just like kind of shouting, and you hear him, "It was my last camping trip!" As he's being pulled off into the mist. But he's taken to the northern, further north into the town, like the creature, the whatever creature thing goes rushing off into the snowy depths beyond. When you first arrived, it was probably 2-3 inches of snow. Now you're probably up to a good 4 inches of snow. I mean, it's just really thick snow coming down now. But you see the creature moving off. What would you like to do, Karate Man?
I'm gonna chase him down. I got a short fuse. He's taking away my scoutmaster.
I'm gonna grab Cole.
Because I don't have a license, so I can't get home without him.
Siouxie don't care. She will drive this car to ground.
With the force.
Him too. Get
Kip's...
your butt back in the car. What are you doing?
But Chris going that way.
He's gone. Like literally gone, and figuratively, he ain't no more. Just get back in the car.
There's kayaks on the river.
Is there ice on the river? Can we look at the
like what's the like?
Is it ice?
Yeah, you can see the river down there. No, so like because you're still kind of like where the the river is sort of expanding to a bit here, widening, and that part you can see like looking down into it's got this sort of like 10-15 foot edge of like icy frost, that's like it's not ice yet, but it's like it's ice, but it's not like you can't walk on it, like you would die, you would fall in immediately. And then like the center area is still bigger, but you are noticing already that it's changing the flow of the river as it's diverting more water into the center. You can see the water is rushing. If you've ever seen that, when it freezes over on either side, it pushes the stream in the center at a more rapid pace. So anyway, you kind of see that, and Pete, are you going to let Cole be restrained by Kip and Siouxie's comment?
I'm gonna stop because now I'm not the oldest, but I feel like since I'm the strongest, I shouldn't run off now and abandon these two. So I'm listening, but I'm also trying to see where they took Grease and see if he's not a Grease spot no more.
Perfect.
I think we should try to save Grease too, but let's be smart about this.
You can be smart about it, but I want to find something I can hit.
It's a
Hey,
strange
dude.
silence too, by the way. You know, it's that snowy silence. There's nobody. You hear nothing. It's just that quiet, the creak of snow.
Kip, have you told us that you've seen these stone legs?
You know, yeah, I'm gonna say that because I know that Cole kind of saw it running away, and Susie's having her moment in the car.
Cole definitely saw the same.
Yeah,
thing,
Cole saw it as well.
but it
I
was
was-
like, so Kip saw it more detailed and closer up, but less of the creature. And Cole saw the bigger. Well, actually, Cole and Kip see the bigger figure because, like, Kip, you like look on, you see this thing, and then you like, it's like I imagine like you just turn your head and like watch it, and you see it like disappearing, and that's about when Cole steps out.
Okay,
Okay.
so then if we all know about this now, does it look like any more of these stone elephant legs things are anywhere near us?
No, there are not. You don't see any more of those things. That the figures. There are, however, these large stone monoliths, I would say. That's how I would describe them. They're just these huge pillars, just not pillars, they're monoliths. They're kind of these strange but
Is
huge
it
shapes.
stone monster poop?
I was gonna say, is it like
Stone,
what
stone giant poop. No, but I mean they're like as big as cars, like a small car. Like
Are
a
there
is
more-
there is there one like close enough to us to walk to, like invisible
Yeah.
distance?
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Kip would kind of point it out and be like, let's check our surroundings. You don't know what's happening here, but everything looks really weird. Like, what is that? And like points out one of the rock formation things.
It's not a daisy.
I've seen enough horror movies to know I'm not a final girl, so I will follow with you because I'm probably gonna die anyways. So, and there's like, if you're looking close enough, you can see a shudder from her, from what she saw, but hasn't actually mentioned yet.
I feel like Kip would like put his hands like in a power stance, like on his waist, and start doing this like mantra. Like he'll start kind of just reading off like the Junior Braves like mantra, being like, "We are brave. We are."
A brave is brave. A brave is brave. That's their number one like saying.
You gotta-
I really recommend, if you like this, read this, you guys. I'm gonna follow this vibe. So it's very
Brave is. He kind of just shouts it out into like the
I
mist.
will.
You
I
just
know.
A
go,
brave is brave.
like a brave is brave.
A brave is brave.
And they all look at Susie, just waiting for her to say the
Suze,
same
a brave
thing.
is brave.
Accidentally checked something.
You check something?
I accidentally checked something.
Was it a reel? It was a reel.
It was Magical World of Toys, Ioli's thing.
Oh,
so I really
Ioli.
needed to see if she was open tomorrow.
Ioli Malali's Magical World of Toys. It is open tomorrow, is it not?
I'm gonna take Lincoln.
I believe it's First Friday tomorrow, by the way. Are you're not gonna be in town, Taffy? Too bad. That's
I
a bummer.
know. I was supposed to like help out with this thing, and then I was like, but I also need to get my artwork.
Yeah, I mean, you got
From
other
an
stuff going
island.
on.
You have to get your artwork from an island.
Yeah, no, you got to do your thing.
An island.
That's what it
Yeah.
sounds like.
Yep. Anyways, a brave is brave.
Yeah, brave is brave. So
Brave is
So
brave.
you look off into the distance of the the area around. So this game is, what would you like to do next? This is what are you all thinking that you would do next now? Go to
Check
one of the obelisks?
Yeah.
Check out the rock, yeah.
All right, so the sun sets is setting. So this game is played more like in scenes rather than playing through every moment of the minutia.
But that's what we're great at.
So you are great at the minutia, I will say, and that's a lot of fun. I like minutia, but you see, we'll say this, okay? We'll say it was a little further into town. Kip, you noticed Kip noticed one of the obelisk things when you were first driving into town before the the snow got too bad, and you recalled, just kind of where up ahead it was, which was the kind of halfway between West Side Episcopal and the Wagner Concert Hall. And there are, as you're kind of moving along, Siouxie was taking a look at other cars, checking them out and seeing, and it looks like someone has been siphoning the cars that are on the street. They look like they have been methodically siphoned out on this end of the street.
Okay, how long have we been gone camping?
A week.
A week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how much snow is on the ground?
Well, so when you first arrived at town, it was about 2 to 3 inches. Gained probably about another inch during the whole scene while you were just sitting there at the car when the Tribe Master Grease was taken. And now after this, we'll say another 2 inches have fallen. So you're about half a foot, 6 inches of snow when you're about halfway to Wagner Concert Hall. And it's about that time that you get to the stone pillar. And the sun is, it's, you're about to get to darkness. Let's see here. Who is, in fact, I'll say that Kip would know that the sun, like Kip knows what time it is. Knows how to tell time in an overcast sky. We'll just say, we'll say that you have that knowledge. So you know that the sun is getting ready to set as you're approaching this, and that you're going to need probably to find some shelter pretty soon. But there is this obelisk here, or this big stone structure. As you're you're maybe like 15 feet away from it. There's a certain amount of, there's like an aura to it,
Are there any vans nearby?
Down by the river.
All right, so here's the thing. This is how you would use, you'd say it's not defined if a van is around nearby. You define it. So you have would be like a grit skill. This is like streetwise, looking around the town, like, look, let me check and see. Wait, there's a garage here. I remember that there's a roll top door here that they, you know what I mean? Like, you would know, you get to tell the story, but you roll, is there? And I'm like, okay, here's complications. So you're starting at a 3, I would say.
Okay, so we're not actually on a bridge. We're in the middle. Well, we're on a road in town near the Episcopal Church.
Right.
Okay.
You're between the Episcopal Church and Wagner Concert Hall. About halfway through.
Okay.
Like the concert hall might have like a parking lot.
I'm looking for indoor shelter. So I think I would like to look for as Rob suggested, a nearby garage. Maybe it was the garage that the Tribe Master worked at.
Tribe Master Grease's garage. That's a great idea. And in fact, I would like to suggest that we add that to the map. It's not on the map, but we can always add new locations to the map. I think that's a really excellent idea. So let's add, what do we want to call this? So it's Tribe Master Grease's, we could call it Grease's garage.
I love it.
Yeah. And I would say let's put it near the high school because the kids could go in there for extra credit.
Actually, that could be kind of a
Can we call it Grease Lightning?
What if Grease took the auto shop program at the local high school, and that's what eventually led him to open his own little mechanic shop?
I like
Yeah.
that. That's cute.
Yeah, because that makes sense if it's by the high school, because then we're close, because the concert hall is right below it. Yeah, I would say like to the left, like the left of the concert hall.
Maybe between the synagogue and the high school.
Yeah, that little square that's there.
That works for me.
Okay, so Grease's garage.
Grease lightning.
Grease lightning.
Grease lightning, we're gonna call it.
Yeah.
Grease lightning.
Okay, Grease lightning.
And I never really like took drama or anything, but I don't know why they always called him Zuko.
That's true.
What?
Don't mind me.
I must be missing a movie reference.
Yeah, I'm missing a reference here. I know, Pete. You're telling us something we don't understand.
I'm making the joke that they always referred to Grease, like the older kids called him Zuko, because the thing is called Grease Lightning. Danny Zuko from Grease.
Okay.
Okay,
Never
see, I don't know anything. I literally cannot stand that movie. I can't watch that movie. I can't watch stuff like that. It just I see it and it just I mean, I can't listen to ABBA.
It makes you cringe.
Okay? I can't listen to ABBA. I can't. I can't. I can find value in almost any cultural experience in the right moment. So I actually probably could get into it in the right setting.
I'm getting ready to add it to the map.
All right, so Gretchen's adding that to the map. So you see this pillar up ahead, and let's go ahead and we're gonna do two things. Kip Master Flex.
Master Flex. He calls himself that, but everyone just calls him Kip.
Right. So Kip and Cole, the two of you are, because Cole, you've taken sort of a protective stance over Kip to some extent. The two of you are standing there like looking at the obelisk, and we're gonna do a challenge roll for the two of you. And I'll get to you in just a second. But before we do that, Siouxie has sort of slunk away, like she does, and is gone looking for maybe this garage to try to gone over to the garage, snuck away to make sure the garage was safe. Okay, we'll say that. Go ahead and do a grit check on this. You have foraging, grit, and woodworking.
Really useful.
Foraging, botany, and woodworking. Okay. Do you want to make an argument for any of those skills that should somehow be applied to this?
Well, first, let's see. Is this placement of the garage okay? It's slowly popping up. So I feel like foraging for a safe location.
I love that you're doing that, and that's actually what I was trying to just now throw you a little bone
I
to
read
do.
your mind.
Now that is beyond the realm of real plausibility. So, but I will give you then a +1.
Okay.
For that. So that's actually kind of what you want to do. Yeah, you are using some of your skills, so like you know how to find stuff, and so you're like, maybe what? How about this? This would be kind of a fun thing. Maybe let's just say, near here there's a place where there's nightshade that grows, which is perfectly in line with your goth self and your love of animals, because you want to remove it so that way the animals aren't killed by the nightshade. And so you're foraging.
That's 2023, Gretchen.
I know, but you don't know. No, nobody else knows about this. Just you. You don't let anybody see this because you're picking nightshade because you're dark and goth, not because
you are utterly alone.
So let's see if where you go to forage for this nightshade is near the garage. If it helps you, we'll give you a +1 to your roll. So I would suggest grit, and then you're going to get a +1, and the challenge rating is going to be a 6. I'm adding +3 because of the snow and bad weather and vines making the environment you're traveling through less distinctive. Or in
all I got is my hiking skill can get me to hike there.
Okay. Now I will say,
I'm going to give you an opportunity actually to help Tafy.
Okay.
With Kip's act as well.
I will say, if this die fails,
it's going to be the dead die. Dead set.
Then the set, yes.
I bought Gretchen this really nice set for the new. Okay, 6.
Okay.
7. It's a challenge. You made it. You made it. You barely, but you made it.
Sweet.
Good job, Die.
You don't have to die.
All right, yeah, so like I imagine that you're like, you kind of slunk away from the others, and you kind of like look back and you see them, and you can decide whether or not it bothers you that somehow in the group of 3 during the apocalypse you're the outcast yet again. But you move away from them, and you know that they're going to be probably flirting around that obelisk for the next good 10-15 minutes before they finally get to actually doing anything. And you look, kind of skirt around, and you kneel down, and you see the nightshade like growing in the cracks between like the building and the sidewalk, and like it makes you think of midnight. Back at home. Believe midnight's okay. Or where does midnight normally stay? At your house? Grandma Sheena's. Okay, so you hope that she's still okay, and you kneel down, and I'll let you decide if you pick the nightshade or not. But you look up and you see from there, through the clouds of snow, a little garage, which he took over an old gas station. So it's got like, we'll say it's kind of distinctive because it's got the classic old gas pumps outside. They're no longer working, but they're sort of like, they went from being old and trashy to now also being like cool and kitschy. So he runs his garage out of that spot.
Okay, yeah, so I wrap my hand in my sweater. Even though it's July, I wear a sweater because it covers me up no matter how much I'm sweating and how much I actually hate it. I wrap my hand in some fabric and pull out the nightshade. And then start to poke around at the garage while looking back at the stupid boys who are messing with the stone pillar.
All right, so Kip and Cole, the two of you,
I could break this rock.
So Taffy and Pete, Kip and Cole are sort of standing in front of this pillar. What are you going to do exactly? Describe to me what you want to do now that it's not a pillar. I keep saying pillar, but imagine one piece of Stonehenge's, lintel and post thing, just like one post. An obelisk? Is it an obelisk? Is that what that is? Just a weird big piece of stone the size of a car?
Yeah, I think so.
That's upright.
I think people just start spewing facts about like those kind of structures in like history. And we'll be like, yeah, I saw, like, my mom was watching this one show about like these Scottish time travelers, and this stuff was
Maybe that's something else that they bonded over.
Cool. What do they do?
Just obscure references to Outlander. He doesn't know what the show's about. He needs to needs to close his eyes at certain parts.
Doesn't know what it's about. Wink, wink.
Lee tells him, but he, he starts kind of he tries to blend like his knowledge of reality to like the possibility of supernatural, and being like, what is this thing? And just starts kind of like touching it and like seeing if he can like get a read if there's like anything that's, I guess he's just like observing it overall. Like if he sees something that's out of the norm of what a stone structure would like look like.
All right, so go ahead and all right, well, what is Cole doing to assist Kip, Pete? What is Cole doing?
I just think it looks like a really cool rock. So like anything that Kip needs doing. I mean, Kip knows rocks. I don't. So
yeah, but see, that's what I'm trying to get you to come up with a
gotcha
a way that you could help Kip, and then I could give.
I feel like Cole would like want to break it to see if like Cole just wants to break things. I feel like Cole would just try to Like,
I want to be a mini geologist too. I want to find something I can break off and study it under my little pen light.
Okay.
Because I mean, I brought this.
we're trying to get a sample of of this big rock.
A danger rock. Gotcha.
So we'll have a smaller danger rock. Just a little
this
danger.
is considered a planned action because
Like to chisel it and study it for later kind of situation.
You're gonna take a chunk out of this danger rock. Gotcha.
Yep. For science.
What's wrong, creepy girl? You scared?
No, that's a total dude thing to do, though.
She's in the garage. She's not even a part of it.
Well, that's why we're out here. No
I'm
girls
off
allowed.
on my own, okay? Because that's not.
So let's see here.
Tell me again, Rob. How big is
How
this
do you
thing?
help somebody? That's the thing. I'm trying to figure this out.
Rob, tell me again. How big is the rock?
It's about the size of like a small car,
Okay.
but it's like upended. You know what I mean? So it's like
I'm gonna try to climb it.
I have a knots and ropes badge that I can kind of create some type of
okay. Then how about this? This might be fun. Let's switch it around. Let's let
Yeah.
Cole be the one who rolls the exploratory roll, and Kip can help Cole. Although I don't know if you want to spend a brave token here, but one of the things is if you're doing a planned action, which we could call this a planned action if you wanted to, then what you're allowed to do is take the die that you would be normally using and just have it and automatically get that roll. You don't even have to roll it. So if that results in a success, then it would result in a success. And I would probably add +3, so I would say the number is 6 because of the snow making the obelisk slick. But other than that, I think a 6 would be the target number.
Okay, which am I rolling? Brawn?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. First D12 roll of this new set of dice too, so if it doesn't work, this one's gonna get punished. So I rolled a 7.
All right, so you climb up the ropes that Kip has sort of helped you with. And as you're doing that, you kind of like scrabble up the side, doing like the whole feet up against the stone kind of thing, pulling yourself up, sort of walking up the side. And as you're doing that, you're kicking off snow. And you get to the top, and it's sort of this conquering moment as you kind of like look around. It just feels good to be on on top of the world. And look down. Kip, you can decide whether or not you're impressed by Cole's climbing aptitude, but you're noticing something else actually, and that's where he kicked off the snow. You see that there's all of these strange writings like on the stone, these strange symbols, and it occurs to you that you have seen these symbols in the architecture of the bridges.
Ooh.
Okay, so I tell Cole this, and then I would say, would we have like a piece of paper and like a pencil, kind of just like on hand, as is like regular random stuff in our pack, or would I have to roll to see if I find that?
You'd have to roll.
Cool, we'll do that.
All right, so this is we're going to do a supply roll.
I mean, you could roll for the pencil, but we could take notes inside my guidebook. That's where all the useful stuff is in there, and I've been using that to write notes forever.
Cool, we'll do that because I think I'm gonna try to do like a rubbing of the exact
I'm sorry, Pete. I was looking up a rule here about the supplies here. What are you trying to do?
He's giving me a page from his guidebook,
or just write some notes on the back cover, because I've been writing notes all weekend. But
for sure, there's got to be blank. There's got to be blank pages in the back.
Grease took my pencil away because I was pretending.
But let's see if you have a writing implement. We'll see if you have a writing implement. So let's see here. supply die and supply roll. So every scout has a D10 supply with and 3 circles that can be marked. The supply die is unique in the game. It's not related to any stat, and brave tokens and skill patches can't be used to improve the roll. In addition, the target you're trying to beat is the total number of items in your pack plus any supply marks you've accumulated, rather than any outside complication. The heavier and bulkier a load you're carrying, the harder it will be for you to find what you need. For example, if you have 4 items in your pack and 2 supply marks, the target for your supply roll is 6. Items in your pockets do not count towards the target.
Okay. So I have a map in my bag.
Okay, so you just have 1 item in your bag.
1 item, yeah.
And you have 1 supply mark then, right? Yeah. So your target number is just a 2.
Okay. I'll have to be like 1.
Yeah.
No, I don't need 1. Oh, okay, so 6.
Okay. So actually you made the target number by more than 3. So you actually get a boon. And we can discuss what that boon would be. So I mean you're getting your writing utensil, but maybe you find something even better. What would be even better than necessarily a writing utensil?
Maybe I have like a small just guide about like I guess things in the town, like just a or just like a note book that I have jotted down like interesting finds of the town that I've like just researched like just throughout like life being in the town and things that I found interesting and like my own kind of just like cheat guide of things.
All right, I will go with you on that. But I think that is probably a little bit beyond the bounds of what an ordinary boon would be. So what I will say is this, is that yes, you have that little notebook, but let's say it has like you know, like when you go mini golfing and they have like they give you that little pen, the little pencil.
Yeah.
Let's say it has like a you know, like this was like something you did, maybe a little notebook you made in Scouts. So it has like a little like rings that you like created yourself, and maybe it's got this little, you know, kind of string coming down, and this little miniature pencil is tied to the string. So you have the notebook and you have a writing implement, but it's not the greatest writing implement ever. It's more for like quick notes and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so you want to do a rubbing though. It's appropriate for rubbing. Okay. So you start getting some you know, you getting a rubbing, and again you're sitting there thinking about you know, where you've seen the rubbing, like the symbols, and like you're thinking about the bridges and all of that. And Cole, you're standing on top of the stone and you're looking around, and then all of a sudden it occurs to you that Siouxie's nowhere to be seen. Like you look all around and like you can see everywhere and she's gone. You do notice like her fading footsteps, you know, her increasingly snow-covered footsteps moving off, you know, kind of away and then sort of around the back of a building to, you know, further into the town. Goal. Can I get a goal?
You get a coal.
Did you hear any of that?
Say it again.
Are you gonna follow? Are you gonna? You know...
All right, you were on top of. Yes, you didn't see Siouxsie. You saw, but you see her footprints in the snow. Do you want to do anything about that?
Kip,
thing?
Kip, did you see where Siouxsie went?
Kip kind of like looks at the ground to see if he can see her like footsteps in the snow.
Yeah, you see them too. They're you know, but they are fading. I mean, they're fading quickly.
I would say to start following them.
I think we should follow them. I think we need to find her because if anyone can survive weird stuff, it's Siouxsie.
Can you jump down from that rock, or you need help getting down?
I'm gonna jump down and like do like the superhero landing.
Shall we roll for
Fist to the ground?
No, I'll let Cole succeed at that. I mean,
It's a leg,
he's
has to
he's
carry.
I'm
Bring
12. I
this
don't got to worry about my hips yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, when we were kids, we did that shit all the time, and it was
Mhm.
totally fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And then you get an X-ray when like you're in your 40s, and then they're like, "Oh, these are bone chips that refused to your knee, that you broke your knee when you're like 10." And you're like, "Oh, I never even went to the doctors."
Oh yeah, I just walked it off.
That thing.
Yep, no personal experience here.
Not personal experience here at all. So we are running short on time, guys. We have our sitter is ending in 15 minutes, so we're kind of running short on time. So what I think we're going to do here is we're going to set up a little bit of a scene, and then maybe we'll call it quits here. Are you enjoying this? Do you want to revisit it and come back and play again?
Yeah.
Cool if
I'm
we
having
visiting.
fun.
I actually got to admit, I'm loving this. The three of you, it's a smaller group. I kind of vibing with it. So Gretchen and I have very reliable sitters at the moment, and so we will maybe
At
just
the moment.
create a separate chat, and we can invite others too. I mean, there could be others from the troop. Maybe they were troop members who quit, and they're in town. You can find them if we want to decide we want to add any people. This will be a more casual thing, but you see Siouxie's tracks. And are you going? I assume you're going to follow them.
We're going to follow them.
Okay, so Siouxsie, you begin to. Well, we gotta do something fun to end this. We gotta end on a nice cliffhanger. You're approaching the garage, which I think we're calling it. We're calling it Grease Lightning, right?
Yeah.
I see it says Grease's Garage on there. Gretchen will have to make yet another map. So you're
I
approaching.
saved the layered version.
You save the layered file. Okay, you're approaching Grease Lightning, and as you are, you're seeing you're kind of taking stock of the situation and looking around. So go ahead and give me a grit test here, and you're not going to get any benefits from your skill patches, I don't think. And you know what? I am going to I was going to put the difficulty at 6 because of the circumstances, but I'm actually going to decrease the difficulty down to 3, or I'm accidentally giving you a +3 to your roll, because I am thinking that your current state of being haunted might actually make you more paranoid and likely to see something. So that. I'm going to give you a benefit in this case. So go ahead and roll your test here, your grit. Oh, doing even better. So it's +3, so it's 11 on difficulty of 6. So you also gain a boon. So let's think about this boon. As you're walking up, okay, so there's like an old metal cigarette. There's like a pole, and it's got like, you use it as a cigarette, but it's been closed off. So it's no longer for smoking, for like putting cigarettes. It's been closed off, but the pole is still there. But you know that with the right twist, you can open it up and put something in there. What's in there? What do you find in there when you walk up to it?
The spare keys to open the garage.
The garage's spare keys. Very nice. Okay, so that's your boon. You pull out the spare keys, and about that time, Kip and Cole come walking up. So Tafy, Pete, Gretchen, all three of you have your characters in the space. Now let's introduce some wild card here to finish off this session here. All right, so you approach this space because you just made a success. That was your boon. So you kind of like open it up and you smile and you like kind of look at the keys, and then you look up and you notice that the garage is lit inside. It's the first electric light you've seen.
Ooh.
You see the garage is lit inside, and you can see like, you know, along the garage where the cars are kept, where he works on the cars, there is a long strip. It's a two cars. You could have two cars side by side in there, and he has a lift on one side, an open area on the other side, and there is a long glass set of glass windows, kind of at eye level. They're grease and exhaust covered and dirty, and you cannot really ever see through them. But you see the light clicks on. Like you grab the keys, you look up and you see the light clicks on, and you like, you know, quickly move behind one of the gas pumps, one of the old gas pumps. And you look in and you see a form, a figure walk by, and you're pretty sure that it looks like he's got like a shotgun slung over his shoulder. You just see the shape of it. And I think we'll stop right there at the gas station.
I think I'm this guy.
Guys, thanks for playing. That was really fun, and I think we will. I'd love to do this again, and I'm going to use again. I'm going to reference this a little bit in this article that I'm going to do. Y'all, we could play in real life if we wanted to.
We can.
We're all in Savannah.
Can.
We should consider really playing in real life. That would be fun.
Honestly, if we do it Thursday or Friday, I think my roommate would be down.
We should do. We just gotta get.
Up her silly alley.
We have to make like hot dogs over a fire and like s'mores or something while we play the game.
Dude, you have me in a low.
If you guys are willing to come to Pooler, which I know is
It can be done. It can be done.
I have a fire pit.
Ooh.
And we could do the s'mores hot dog.
I love that.
situation.
Actually, you know, it's funny you mentioned that, Tafy, because I was thinking this could be it does talk about that in the game, in the section of the book for the guide, they call him, the game master. They talk about creating like the setting and scene and stuff like that, and they do talk about that. And one thing that they said was like making maps instead of handing out maps, making maps by laying out like, well, I've got this quarter, put your keys there, that's this building here, and like, you know, you take random objects. Oh, I've got a die here, and they can make your map out of like, oh, I've got a stick or
like found items,
like all these found items, just kind of like Braves would, you know.
And let's be honest, I have the handwriting and artistic skill of a 12-year-old.
And oh, you know what, Dom, who couldn't make it tonight, he got stuck in surgery. So he really wanted to play. Dom is a great dude. He actually lives in Pooler.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So that might work out. All right, well, guys, we really just got to go, but thank you so much, and it just really made my day. I'm really loving this whole thing. I love your characters too. A lot of fun, and thank you for bearing with me. My first time running this game, so it took me a little bit here, and it's been a while since we played, even though I was rereading the rules and stuff. But a lot of fun. But I'll see you all.
I'm probably going to be looking out to get a copy of the handbook myself.
Yeah, if you can buy it from Oni Press directly, onipress.com or renegadegames.com, but I would say onipress.com.
Yeah, I'm on onipress.com.
Like via Amazon. No, Oni, O-N-I.
Oh,
yeah, I'm on the site.
I love it. I'm gonna have to tell the creator, he goes by GremlinLegions, but his real name is Michael White or Mike White, and the White is spelled like the monster, W-I-G-H-T, which I love because he's a game designer. Awesome. And he has like a wraith name. But anyway, guys, we do got to go. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Can't wait to see. I'll see you in person or online. I'm sure really soon. We'll chat soon. All right, guys. Take care.